we'll get started with that. I'd like to introduce to you one of my most favorite people. I just met her a couple of weeks ago, but she is my inspiration. This is Megan, and Megan has lost 165 pounds. With my I'm going to turn it over to you.
Alrighty. Hi. Well, I have always really been heavy, even as a child. I was not huge, but I was definitely overweight. Once I hit junior high, started really packing on the pounds. When I remember specific weights growing up, I remember being 120 pounds in 6th grade because they said that's how much you're supposed to weigh when you're adult. And I'm like, okay, I'm 120 now. How am I going to keep this weight for the rest of my life? I'm 11, you know. I was 200 pounds when I graduated from high school. So still overweight, not horribly huge, but definitely had a weight problem. When I graduated from college, I was up to 240. And then from there, the last 10 years have swung. I was up to 315, and then swung down to about 230, and then joined Weight Watchers at my highest, which we'll get to in a second. But getting up to my highest, I had gotten pregnant, had a baby, and at that point thought, yeah, I should probably do something about my weight. I had a scale at home. I knew the weight limit was 330 pounds, but it said E, so I was obviously over that. I could only find clothes at Fashion Bug. This is the biggest size they had. I'd gotten to the point where these were really tight, and I couldn't find anything bigger at the store to buy. And so I was like, okay, I should watch my weight. I don't know, watch it do what, I don't know. But I remember I went to Bed Bath & Beyond and was looking at scales. I'm like, well, I don't know how much I weigh, so I should probably find the biggest one. And then I still didn't really have a plan. It was still like, well, I'll just watch what it does. And so I was thinking, you know, why just sit there and watch it go up, up, up? Let's do something about it. So it was like one of those aha moments, which seems really silly now looking back at it, but it was like a big, huge thing. So I joined Weight Watchers. This was the outfit I wore. This was the shirt. As you can see, it's been rolled up in the closet, but this was the shirt and the pants that I wore for my very first weigh-in. And so got on the scale, and I was 345 pounds. So these are the only clothes that I have kept. I've got some before pictures here. You can see my daughter. This is a baby I had. She's 3.5 now, so. But those are some of my before pictures. One of the things that I remember getting with my weight as high as it was is I thought I was justifying it because I could still walk. I could still walk around. I can still go upstairs. I'm fine. I might have to stop and take a breath, but I can still walk around. I'm not in a scooter. I'm not stuck in bed. But I could see myself getting to that point, and that's what scared me. So I had a friend that had been on Weight Watchers, had lost 80 pounds, looked into it more, and thought, I had a friend that also had lap band surgery. Oh, go in and get the surgery. It's so easy. They just strap off your stomach, and then you don't eat as much. I'm like, well, that doesn't really get to the root of the problem. It just restricts your eating. So then I was looking at Weight Watchers and some of the other programs they have, but Weight Watchers really stuck out because not only is it teaching you how to eat healthy, but it's also helping you along the way with the other things that go along with it. Because especially at 345 pounds, it's not just mindless snacking. It's not just put down that extra cheeseburger. There's a whole host of other problems that go along with that. So again, I was also dealing with depression issues and that kind of stuff too. So one of the things I also found out along this journey is that my thyroid had totally died. So had that problem as well, so I take medication for that. And then because of that, I have issues. I have to take vitamin D and iron pills also because you can't retain, absorb it as well or something when your thyroid isn't working. So I have a few pills that I have to take, but really it was watching the food intake and just eating a lot healthier. And one thing that happened too Because people ask, you have so much to lose, and it takes so long, and what do you keep in mind of why do you keep doing it, basically? One of the things that happened, I joined, actually January 10th, 2011 was when I joined Weight Watchers. That was my first meeting. Monday nights over at the North Foothill Center was where I started. In June of that year, June of 2011, my father passed away. He was 60 years old, had diabetes, heart disease, passed away in his sleep at 60. And so dealing with that, on that side of the family, my grandfather died at 57, my grandmother died at 64, my dad died at 60, my uncle, his brother, had his first heart attack at 42, and my aunt has had diabetes, and she was diagnosed probably in her early 30s, still has it, big weight problems on all sides of the family. Saw my cousins on that side, very large. One of my cousins did have gastric bypass, and he lost a bunch of weight, but again was having some of those side effects that you get, or food absorption problems, still gaining some of the weight back, some of the medical problems with it too, and it's like, I gotta keep myself in check, because I'm 35, I can't imagine having a heart attack at 42, like it's incredible to me. So that's one of the things I keep in mind is that, my health could go south really fast. And when you're 17 and 18 years old, graduated from high school, I was like, got the rest of my life. But now I'm like 35, still not quite middle-aged, but now I have kids and I want to be there for them. I want to see them grow up. My grandfather died when I was my daughter's age, so the same thing happened to her. My daughter will never know her grandfather because he passed away when she was 2. So I don't want that to happen in my family. So that's what really sticks in my mind and keeps me going. Made some notes so I don't forget. When I first joined Weight Watchers, again, I could walk, but I really wasn't that active. So I just started off doing Wii Fit games, Wii Sports in the living room, played Frisbee golf, played ping pong with my husband, got Just Dance, and so my son, I have an 11-year-old son, and so he and I would play Just Dance and dance in the living room. And, after about 3 months, I walked around our neighborhood. I live over by the Arboretum, so the neighborhood makes this big circle that everyone gets lost in because you can't figure out how to get out of there. But it's 0.7 miles. It took me 20 minutes the first time I walked that. But I walked it. I felt like I was going to die, but I walked it. And so that's where I started. So even at that weight, I was doing something. Started with Wii Fit, just doing something activity-wise. In my brain, you watch The Biggest Loser and think, I'm going to spend 3 hours in the gym and eat 800 calories, and this is not what I want to do. You don't have to do that. Just find something that you love. So along the way, I've obviously lost a lot of weight, gained a lot of activity. I started off with walking, just that one circle, 20 minutes, 0.7 miles. Last year, after that, I just walked more and more and more. Found a walking buddy, and we would do walks. Got up to the point where we were walking like 5 or 6 miles at a time, about a little over an hour. And then this past July, I discovered the Couch to 5K running program, and discovered I liked to run. So who knew? Hated it in high school, but like it now. And so I'm actually running a lot. I try to run 3 days a week. I'm up to running about between 4 and 6 miles at a time. And then I signed up to do a half marathon in May. So I'm signed up to do a winter marathon. So we'll see. So my plan, my spring running plan is to do St. Patty's 5 in March, and then maybe the Spokane Trail Run in April. I'm not too set on that. Definitely do Bloomsday, and then do the half marathon. And after that, we'll see if I want to go super crazy and do the Spokane Marathon in October, or just kind of take a break and chill with the 3 days a week, a couple miles at a time. So we'll see as the training ramps up how much I really still love running. But it's been really interesting to see like what I can do and what I can achieve as this whole process has taken place. And with getting my medication in line, I just take the thyroid pills, the vitamins, and do running or any type of exercise a couple of days a week. My head is so much clearer. My mood is so much more level. It's just been amazing. So some of the things that I wanted to talk about too is just getting the support that you need. That's been the biggest thing to this whole journey. Not just coming to Weight Watchers, but coming to the meetings is huge. Listening to other people, hearing other people's ideas. I did not talk in my meeting for like the first year. And mostly it's because I was the biggest one in the room and I just kind of hid in the back. And I do like going to the Weight Watcher message boards on their website. And I've been in the 200 plus pounds to lose board for now the 2 years. And that's one thing that I knew that I wasn't alone. You're the biggest thing in the room, but nobody can see you. Like nobody wants to look at you. Nobody really wants to acknowledge you. You kind of hide in the back. So that's one thing is I've lost the weight. I've come out of this, like come out of the attention closet. Like, look at me. Look what I can do. So it's just been kind of interesting that once the weight's gone, it just has opened up a lot more doors with that too. And so finding some support, going to meetings, listening to other people. The message boards have been great on there because as much as I love hearing about people that have just 20 or 30 pounds to lose, again, there's a different mindset when you have more than that. And so that has just been a great support because they understand what it's like to go into a store and I didn't get to this point, but having to use those motorized carts because you can't walk around the store. Like, there's just no way. You know, understanding that going into an airplane just freaks you out. You're not going to fit in the seat. I couldn't buckle my seatbelt. My husband doesn't know. I couldn't buckle my seatbelt in my car. It just didn't fit. So I remember that being one of my big first, what they call on the boards NSV, those non-scale victories. Being able to buckle my seatbelt in my car. It's probably a lot safer driving around with a seatbelt on. So, but keeping that in mind, keeping a list of these are my non-scale victories that I want to focus on too. Finding one-on-one support. I found my walking buddy. I became good friends with Donnie Taylor, who actually works for Weight Watchers now. She's out in the Valley Center and does reception out there too. She's also lost 260 pounds, so she knows what it's like too. But so finding somebody to bounce ideas off of, you know, getting that one-on-one support, going to the meetings, finding people online that are in that same boat that you are, having family and coworkers be very supportive too. So, you know, my husband's been great with this whole thing of just, okay, you want to go running, whatever, see you in an hour, whatever you want to do. Because he knows I will be happier if I get an hour to myself. A couple days a week, like, mom's a much better mom and a much calmer wife when she gets to go out and do something on her own for a minute. And especially as a woman, you're expected to come in, you're supposed to work your 40 hours a week, come home, take care of the family, take care of the house, all this stuff. So it's just trying to find that time for yourself and not get bogged down with, oh, I have all these other things I have to do. Take the time for yourself. I didn't realize I had so much time in my day until I actually got off the couch and did things, which seems weird too. Like, I always thought I was really busy, but once I started planning, I'm going to go to the gym here, I'm going to do this, I'm going to take my kids here, we're going to go for a walk, I'm going to take the kids sledding, we're going to go to the park. Like, there's all this time during the day that I found that I didn't realize that I had. I think. And part of that, just forgive yourself. That's one of the big things that I tell new people that ask me about Weight Watchers. Just be able to forgive yourself if you mess up. Or, oh, I shouldn't have eaten that. Forgive yourself. Just move on. You know, it's one meal. It's taken 2 years for me to get 165 pounds down. But with anyone that has kids, 2 years doesn't last that long. You bring your child home from the hospital, and then all of a sudden they're going to school. All of a sudden, then they're driving, and then they're going off and having kids of their own. And you're like, what happened? So, you know, our life expectancy, I think right now is like 76 or 78 years. 2 years is like that much. So, and being able to extend that life expectancy from that is huge. So. It seems like it's taken a long time, but at the same time, like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe it's been 2 years. It's gone by really fast. I remember telling Francie's my leader, I go to the Saturday morning early meetings, and we talked about one of our members asked me a couple months ago, did you ever think you'd lose all this weight? Like, you know, I thought I could, but I didn't think I would. And that's a totally different thing, that, you know, concept. Oh, I totally can do it. Whether or not I will, that's a whole other conversation. So I never thought I'd be at this point. I just thought, I'll join Weight Watchers and see what happens. And then it's, oh, I lost 10 pounds, that's cool. All right, well, I'm down 30, that's cool. I'm down 50, I'm down 100. Like, okay, so maybe this is working. Maybe I should keep doing this. So it's just kind of been this slow process and really just focusing on those little things this whole time, the next 5 pounds. That, the whole way has just been the next 5 pounds, the next 5 pounds, the next 5 pounds. You got to think of it in those little chunks. Because if you sit there and think, oh, I have all this weight to lose, like, it just becomes too much of a burden. So again, just being positive, setting non-scale victories. One thing I've never been able to do in the last 2 years is say, I'm going to lose 10 pounds by X date, because my brain like freaks out. I don't know what it is, but all of a sudden I get way too anxiety-ridden over it, and it never happens. And so I have been setting activity goals of planning out my running for the week, for instance. I'm going to run 4 miles this day. I'm going to run 5 miles this day. I'm going to try 4.5 this way. I'm going to put out a new route, see what I can run. And I'm going to run 7 miles on this day, see if I can do it. And I did it. So those are things that I can control. The scale is just a box, and sometimes it's mean and sometimes it's nice, but it's just a box. I can control going out and running another 1/4 mile, or going out and walking another 10 minutes, because I can control that. I can't control the scale. I want to kick it and I want to make it do things, but you can't. And so there's been a lot of times that you stand on the scale and you're like, what are you doing? Move! But, you know, it's been interesting just seeing too with e-tools. I love, love, love e-tools because you can track all your food, but it tracks your weight. And you can look at that little graph that goes down. So it's generally gone down, but as I've noticed, my weight, I tend to lose 8 to 10 pounds like really quick, about 2 or 3 weeks, and then nothing for a couple of weeks. It'll bounce up a little bit, and then it'll kind of stay there, and then it'll drop again. And during that time where it bounces up and then stays the same, I'm actually losing inches. So it's kind of been that the whole time, the last 2 years, is I'll lose 10 pounds, and then nothing will happen on the scale, but all of a sudden, all my clothes are too big, and I can't wear them anymore. So my coworkers have noticed too. They're like, okay, you need to go buy new clothes because I'm like cinching up my clown pants because they're too big. Like, just don't wear them anymore. It's not worth it. So it's, again, that's been kind of the interesting thing, just to see that pattern of, okay, well, I've lost, you know, 8 or 9 pounds in the last 3 weeks. I have a feeling the scale's going to bounce up again, and it does. And you know, as women, the scale's going to do this anyway. So it's, you just got to deal with it, and you got to know that that's the pattern that it's going to take. As long as it generally goes down, that's good. Not generally going down, but it does kind of look at this little down, bounce up, and then stay, down, bounce up, and then stay. So, but over the course of the whole entire 2 years, I think it's averaged out 1.4 pounds per week. And that doesn't mean I get 1.4 pounds every single week, but that's kind of what the average has been. So it's kind of nice to see that in e-tools too, where you can pull up different time periods and it'll tell you this is how much you lost during this time period, here's your average, here's how many points you ate, here's how many activity points you earned. So you can kind of graph it. I'm a numbers person, that's what I do all day long, is look at graphs and charts. We like to tease on our team. We do process and training and data validation, and to be on our team, you have to be really excited about spreadsheets. So, so I like looking at spreadsheets and numbers and finding patterns. So just being able to analyze all that data with e-tools is just awesome. I do not track with pencil and paper. I've always got my phone with me. I'm always in front of a computer. I'm always hooked up to the internet in some capacity, so I have e-tools on me at all times. So, yeah, it's just, you know, forgiving yourself. That's a big, big thing. Just knowing, okay, I messed up, but get back on the horse. Get back up on the wagon. It's just one meal. You know, don't say, well, I'll just wait until my next weigh-in before I start over again. Probably should just start over at the next meal. Oops, I ate like 3 pieces too many of that pizza. Oops, maybe I'll just have salad for dinner and then we'll start again tomorrow. So, and one other thing too, just the mindset of it. It's been interesting. We have a crawl space up in our house that's kind of our attic, and we've got stuff up there like everybody else has in their attic. And I've always been really afraid of ladders. When I was in high school, we had a wooden ladder. At the time, it was probably close to 200 pounds. Broke one of the rungs of the ladder when I was about that far up off the ground. So I broke through the ladder and went and just fell right onto the ground. Hurt, and of course it like, oh. So I hate ladders anyway. But I'm still in the back of my mind of, oh my God, I'm going to break this ladder. And so I've always been kind of afraid to go up on ladders. And so that's been preventing me even just to go up into our attic to get stuff, because the crawl space opening is not that big. You have to get the ladder out to do it. And then plus, once you get up there, you have to put your hands up about here and then push yourself up into it, because we don't have a little fancy ladder that comes down the top that's just like a fold-up ladder that you have to stick there. So it's like, I haven't been up there. We've lived in the house for 6 years, never been up there. My husband had gone to work. I really wanted the Christmas decorations out of the living room and up in the attic. So I went up to go get the boxes, the empty boxes. I'm like, okay, well, I'll set up the ladder and see if I at least can go up maybe 1 or 2 steps and reach in and kind of grab the boxes. And, you know, and it's like I got 2 steps off the ground. And I'm like, I'm going to break this ladder. And I'm like, Megan, you're not even 200 pounds. This ladder's rated to like 250 pounds. Like, you're not going to break the metal ladder. So it's still like that mindset of, oh my God, I'm huge. I'm going to break this. I'm not going to fit. And just climbed right up the ladder. And I looked up and I'm like, okay. And the box was way over there. So I crawled up some more and then shimmied in and actually got into the attic and grabbed the boxes and then got back down the ladder. And I was like, whew. So I packed everything up. I couldn't get them back up in there because by that time it was too heavy and too unwieldy and stuff. And so my husband came home from work and I was like, oh, I just need to get this stuff back up in the attic. I went up there to get the boxes. And you went up in the attic? Yes, I did. I climbed up a ladder and crawled up into the attic. So for the first time in 6 years, I was able to get up into our attic. So lucky me, now I get to go up in there. You can't use the excuse of my husband has to do it. But it's been an interesting ride. I still have about 25 pounds more to go-ish. I keep waffling on what my goal weight's going to be. But we'll see. I figure running a couple of days a week and eating not just everything I want to. It's not like a complete gorging fest all the time, but I've learned all the points. I've learned how to manage my food to the point where I'm eating pretty much what I want. I don't feel deprived on anything, and running 3 days a week and walking on the opposite days too. I'm still getting losses, so just going to kind of ride it out and see where that puts me, because that's the sustainable part, and that was what scared me at the beginning of, I don't want to have to go to the gym for 4 hours in the morning, eat like a bird all day long, go to the gym for another 4 hours in the evening to maintain this weight. That's not sustainable at all. So I want to have that lifestyle where I can pretty much eat what I want to an extent, and then just go out and exercise a couple of days a week, do what you love, and who knows, I might hate running at some point and pick up some other sport. But as long as it's something, just getting out there and doing something. Like I said, my friend Donnie lost 260 pounds just walking. That's all she's ever done. And Zumba, a couple days a week. So, but
Weight Watchers works, huh?
Weight Watchers works. So yeah, that's my story.
Weight Watcher leader standing.
Yeah, I'm a trainer too. I was a teacher for many years, so I like being in front of a crowd, and especially here's another little postscript. I've been trying to get into our training department forever, and applied several times, and it actually was about almost a year ago. It was like March, when I finally went in there and I had the confidence to go in and have a really good interview, a really good presentation, and got the job. And so I think part of it was just the time was right, but I think a lot of it had to do with myself, was just having the confidence to stand in front of a group of people and not be that elephant in the room hiding in the back. So that's just been huge.
Thank you very much. So we're going to do the